there are many areas where China and Russia can work together, but the cooperation is not going as smoothly as one would imagine. So let's look at some examples. First of all, the economic cooperation between China and the United States, it is booming. What's happening is that China needs a lot of energy and resources from Russia. So you would think that they would build the infrastructure as soon as possible to make this trade as smooth as possible, right? Especially with this war going on in the Middle East, blocking China's access to the Middle East energy. And the main pillar of this cooperation is something called the Power Siberia 2. As you can see, it extends all the way from the north of Russia to Shanghai. It's a huge project, and everyone has assumed that at this meeting, the first thing that they would accomplish is signing an MOU, an agreement, to build this pipeline, and they have not done so. And a lot of it is because China does not want to become too dependent on Russia. Because obviously if you build this pipeline, then you must buy a lot of energy from Russia. But they want to still negotiate over the price as well as the volume. So that's one area. Second area is Iran. As you can see, the Russians are absolutely supportive of the Iranians, right? So what Vladimir Putin says is this absolute unprovoked aggression of US bombing against Iran has no basis and no justification whatsoever. For our part, we are making our efforts to assist the Iranian people. Okay, this was last June actually, when America bombed Iran. The Chinese, on the other hand, are much more nuanced and much more diplomatic. So President Xi says, Israel's military operation against Iran has caused a sudden escalation of tensions in the Middle East. Military conflicts are not the solution of problems, so the Chinese are much more muted. And this shows us that whereas the Russians are much more clear about their regional alliances, China does not want to participate in disputes among different nations. One area of cooperation between Russia and China is trade routes. So as we discussed previously in this class, what the Americans want to do is they want to block China from accessing global trade. And they can do that by closing off the Strait of Malacca, okay? And there's something called the Malacca dilemma for China, where if the Americans were to close off the Strait of Malacca, Chinese trade would collapse. So the solution is for China to build another route to the north, called the Northern Sea Route of Russia. But the problem with this is that now you're completely dependent on the Russians because you're going through Russian territory, okay? So it's not in the advantage of China to say, you know what, screw you, America, we're gonna work with the Russians. They're actually better off balancing Russia and China. That way, they keep both of these routes open. Okay, this is the most economical, this is the most strategic way of accessing global trade. But the further you look, there are certain tension points in the relationship between Russia and China. First of all, this relationship clearly favors China, okay? So this is a map, a chart of Russian exports to China. And as you can see, it's mainly just energy, coal, LNG, crude oil, okay? That's the extent of Russia's exports to China. And what does China export to Russia? Mainly vehicles, electronics, and machinery. So basically what China does is it takes Russian resources, converts them into manufactured goods, machinery in its factories, and then exports it back to Russia. This is a very bad deal for Russia. It's a good deal for China, but it's a bad deal for Russia, okay? So that's one point of tension. Another point of tension is the dependence. So basically, China and Russia may be best friends, but look at this. Russia's share in Chinese imports is only 5%. And then Russia's share in Chinese exports is only 3%. So economically, Russia and China are not that close. The problem though is that Russia is heavily dependent on its relationship with China because of all these economic sanctions imposed on it by the West, okay? So as you can see, what's happened after February 2022, when Putin invaded Ukraine and the West imposed sanctions on Russia, the economic dependence on China has increased a lot, where in the beginning of the war, Russia didn't have that much in renminbi. But now, the renminbi accounts for over 40% of Russian imports, okay? Another thing is that Chinese investors aren't that interested in going to Russia and investing in Russia. Okay, so before the war, this is the war, okay? This is the war. There was some, okay, but there weren't that many. And then as you can see, after the war, it dropped precipitously. Okay, so why? And as you can see from this map, maybe the Chinese are in the Russian Far East, and that makes sense because it's close to China. But as you can see, the further you go out here, there's really no real investments. Chinese aren't that interested in investing in Russia. Okay, and why is that? Well, there's different reasons. We can speculate, okay? The first reason, and this is really important, is that the Chinese are respecting Western sanctions on Russia. If you do business with the Russians, then the West can choose to debank you, remove you from the global financial system. And Chinese investors care more about the relationship with the West than they care about with Russia, okay? That's point one. Point two is that Russia is not that friendly to foreign investors. Russia is very much a closed system, and it's very hard to do business in Russia. If you're in the United States and you put your money in the United States, you know you'll be protected legally and contractually. If the person screws you over, you can go sue the person in a court of law and you can probably win the case. Whereas in Russia, well, if you get screwed over, too bad, okay? Russia is still very much a mafia system. Then the third reason, and this is actually something that is really problematic, is that Chinese are much more interested in USD than they are in the ruble. They're much more interested in accumulating US dollars than they are in ruble. And this is the central dilemma of the Russia-China relationship, where yes, you can get Chinese to go visit Russia, you can announce a lot of cooperation, but at the end of the day, Chinese investors want USD and not ruble. Here's another chart where, yes, okay, as you can see, more and more Chinese are going to Russia, all right? So right now you have about 50,000 Chinese studying in Russia. But this does not compare at all to the Americans, where they are, when Chinese have enough money to go study in America, starting in 2008, you can see a huge boom. There's maybe 60,000 Chinese who are learning Russian in China. Well, everyone else is learning English. So at the end of the day, Chinese people are much more interested in the West than they are in Russia. So in other words, the relationship between Russia and China seems to be top down, where it's mandated from the government. But the relationship between the United States and China seems to be bottom up, where people are choosing to work with the Americans. And so this is not really an equal relationship. So what I want to look at today is, why is this the case? Why is it that the Chinese want to go to America, and what can Putin do about it? And what will Putin do about it, okay? So these are the two questions that we're going to look at. First of all, why is the relationship like this? And second of all, what is Putin's strategy of dealing with this? Okay, all right.